We're going to tie up this 1/8 ounce silver head with the red number 4 J hook. We're going to tie these up for spawning crappie, and I'm going to tie up a couple of them. So come along, watch. Let's see what we do. We are going to be tying this one right here up. This is going to be for spawning crappie, those fish that are right on the bank. If I can get one cured up, I'll be using it today. So we'll tie it up, we'll take it out of the vise, we'll cure it, we'll put it in a boat, we'll go catch a spawning crappie with it, because crappie are right there at that spawning area, that spawning stage, depending on what area of the lake you're at. It's on. This right here is the best time of year. It only happens like this once a year, but they are ready. Whoa, it's cold down here, and I got my Sally Hansen's pretty thick right there. So this is how we're going to start this up. We are going to be using silver hackle, a little bit of red hackle, and we are going to be using some silver flash. And just about all of this you will be able to get in my Amazon shop. Probably not the hackle. The flash, the thread, we're going to be using Ultra Threads 210 denier. There's a link for it there. Get you some of it. This is what I use 99.9% of the time. So we got our Sally Hansen's on. We're going to start right here behind the head, and we're going to wrap it. Not far, because these are going to be without Chanel. I don't want no Chanel in these. Spawning crappie have a way to destroy everything you're using. They're pretty aggressive when you can find them spawning. Everything they can to get that intruder away from the nest, or to fill their bellies, because they've been starving trying to keep those nests clean for so long. We're going to pull off like 3, 4. Let's start with 3 pieces of silver hackle, and then we are going to take this right here. We're going to pull off 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 10, something like that, because we're going to be tying up more than one. All right, so we are going to start with a piece of silver and a piece of red. I'm going after attention getting jigs. Not so much natural colors as they are attention getters. We're going to trim those off right there, just about a little more than an inch long, 1.25 inches, something like that. We're going to lay that, or some stuff right there still got to be trimmed. We're going to lay that right on the shank of that hook. Come back up. We're going to pull it kind of tight. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some of that flash in. Get like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 pieces, something like that. Whatever I pull off. Just kind of depends. I don't get real picky with the flash now that it's available a whole lot cheaper than what it was a couple years ago. I'm not very stingy with the flash. I'm gonna go ahead and trim some of that too. Saying, what? You always add flash at the end. You can put the flash in wherever you want. Sometimes I want it in the middle. Sometimes I want it on the ends. It just kind of depends on the mood I'm in. It's all silver and red stacked together. Put it right there. Let some of that flash get out of my way. I think it was 31 degrees right now. It's supposed to be in the upper 50s today. Crappie been spawning just about everywhere. Well, I've been fishing some docks at Pomme de Terre Lake, and some of those crappie absolutely had eggs dripping out of them, and some of them looked like they were still weeks away from spawning. Pittsburgh State Park is almost to the dam, so you're at almost the deepest, coldest spot on the lake, but they're kind of tucked back in a cove too, so could be contributing a little bit to that warm water that's back in that cove. But I'm thinking the shallow end of the lake, they should be there. And they're going to be pretty close to the bank. And we're going to take a long rod, and we're just going to swoop right down the bank and see how many we can pick off. And that's it for this jig. That is it. That's all there was to that. Let's get a whip finish on it. see if my UV resin is ready to use, which I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's as thick and gummy as the Sally Hansen's was. Pull it tight, cut that ultra thread loose, and let's see. Ooh, that bottle's cold. It's gonna be thick. So when it's thick like this, you got to give yourself just a little bit more cure time. More so than what you would if it was warm. Not going to go super thick on that. That's it. That's going to be the jig I'm going to use today, is that one right there. Let's get that one curing. And with any luck, I'm going to have Zach with me today, so we better type another one, or 2 or 3. I'll probably type about 4 of these. But we'll just go ahead and do this one on camera, too. Sally Hansen's is thick, thick, thick. Summertime's coming, though. All that stuff will be gooey and warm here before you know it. And that, remember, when you're doing Chanel's jigs and you're going to use that taper, always stop. But several more wraps right there, just kind of keep your taper going. Same thing, we're going to pull off some silver. Separate them. Get them all weeded out. We're going to take one. And a couple red ones. Right there, just like that. Well, they didn't want to stack up at all because some of those red ones are just totally different thicknesses. When you pull them off the bottom of that hackle patch like that, sometimes they're not always equal length. That'll work right there. That looks good. That looks good to me. That'll catch fish. It'll catch those spawning fish. Should catch any fish. The cool thing about those spawning crappie is it draws a lot of other fish up there to them too. Never know, we might be a walleye or two lurking around there, looking for some of those little smaller spawning fish to eat. Catfish usually push up closer to the bank, looking for those egg sacs. You never know when you're going after spawning crappie. I think it's got a lot to do with fishing close to the bank, being where a lot of those fish want to be anyway. You got a lot of action going on there right now with all those crappie coming up to spawn. And let's put our flash in. Last time I did it on the first set of feathers. This time I did it on the second set. No real reason for that other than that's just kind of the way it went. Loose wraps all the way to the end of your flash. And then you can go tighter back up. That'll kind of keep that flash laying a little bit flatter and keep it from making that 90-degree bend there from the tightness and the stress of your threads. Let's get a red one and a silver one. UV resin coat this one, and this one will be ready to go. I do believe that this jig will be worthy of hanging up in the rocks. That'll happen a lot when you fish for spawning crappie the way I do. Get the boat about 10 foot away from the bank, 12 foot away from the bank, take a long rod and just cruise down the bank until I find those good spots where they're spawning at. Not a whole lot to it. I stay on the move. I don't tie up. I don't anchor up much at all when I'm crappie fishing. Even pre-spawn, post-spawn, during the spawn, I'm always moving. Sometimes I will hit spot lock if I think I found a spot where there's going to be some, and I'll put a float on a small jig and I'll just work it into those small cuts in the bank sometimes. good pair of polarized glasses, sometimes you can see those fish. Especially crappie. When a crappie turns sideways, it'll make a flash. So pay close attention to that when you're crappie fishing. Keep your polarized glasses on during the spawn, and sometimes you will see those fish. And the cool thing about fishing for spawning crappie the way I do is a lot of times you will see, when you're cruising down the bank doing this, I only fish just maybe a foot deep. You will see those fish come up and hit that jig or hit at that jig, and then the guy in the back of the boat will always have that opportunity to catch that one you missed. So give it a try. Give this jig a try. Let me know what you think about spawning crappie. What's your best way to do it? You got a preferred method? Slip float minnows or a jig? Stationary? Moving back and forth the way I do? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you guys got. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, see you guys.